Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Crypto Tyke and thought I'd talk about Kaspa today. As I'm looking, I am not seeing the breakout just yet that a certain Mitchell Lim keeps talking about, and I'm actually having to do this video a little bit because when any comments are perhaps not offensive or anything like that, but maybe trigger him a little bit, and made, he seems to hide them. Now, I don't know. I don't know whether that's. I don't think it's because he's trying to push a Casper narrative to make other people buy it. Although he does keep telling everybody to buy it, and that it's coming soon and all this lot. And it is kind of a little bit how a person who does a scam operates. However, I don't think it's that, because I just don't see where he benefits from it. So, apart from views, but I mean, I'm a very small channel. He's a small channel, so I don't think that's it either. So, but yeah, I did mention him the other day in a video about swapping to Ethereum for Casper, and I thought it were a mistake then. And I left a comment basically saying that had I started with my crypto journey, which were 5 months ago, as I've pointed out, had I known what I know now in that short space of time, I most certainly would have bought Bitcoin in the biggest quantities first, and Ethereum, and then I'd have just edged my way in, buying chunks of Casper as we went along. And had I done that, looking at everything and where I am, I definitely would have been in a much stronger position, not only with profits, but to be able to rotate that, should I need to, into Casper. Because let's face it, Casper is at 0.062 pence, or 0.083 dollars, cents, whatever you want to say. And yeah, it's again, no sign of a breakout. Now, I've increased my positions in Avalanche and Chainlink, and even got positions in ENA and obviously Ethereum, Bitcoin. And I am so glad that I was buying Solana from the get-go and as well, and that all offsets this situation we have with Casper. And it's likely to be a slow burner. It's a long-term project. I'm in it for the long term, because at my age, it's the one thing that has potential of being life-changing. So I have to have a decent position in there just because of that. But I could have been in the same position now with the same amount of Casper, had I just bought over the course of 6 months rather than buying in big chunks early, which was when it was at I think it was beginning 11 cents 5-6 months ago when I started, and then it came down from there, and then I started scooping them up in the, I think it was the 5 pence mark, around that, and then I was able to sell some and take a little bit of profit, and then I've been buying since. I'm still seeing reds with Casper, even though I've taken profit, don't forget, so that's all right. But the fact is that had I bought Bitcoin and used the same method to buy Bitcoin, I wouldn't have sold Bitcoin, let's face it, but buying Bitcoin, I'd be in a lot more profit with Bitcoin now, because when I started back then, when that was the situation, Bitcoin was a lot cheaper than it is now, if there's such thing as cheap Bitcoin. And Casper, about the same, really, hasn't changed much. So in the meantime, what caught my attention, and I've not taken any advice from him, fortunately, Mitchell Lim, all I've ever heard of him saying is it's going to break out, it's going to break out, you're going to regret it, you're going to regret it. Now, the fact of the matter is, if that goes up to 20 cents, yeah, you're going to be able to still get shitloads. It ain't going to be a problem, you know. You're still going to make a lot of money out of it, even at 20, if it goes up to 20 cents, yeah. Now, it's not going to get there for quite some time, and when it does, it'll be because alt season's at a height. Because already we seem to be heading into alt season right now. We might even, you know, and some people have said this, already be in alt season, and that's reasonable as well. I think we might well be. So we've seen the bigger players already go like it's supposed to. Ethereum broke out, Solana followed, and then you've got now Avalanche, Chainlink, and a few others that are also breaking that. And Nina's done quite nicely for me actually, and Kaspa stayed exactly the same. Now, obviously, a clock is going to be right twice a day, so eventually Mitchell Lim will be able to say, "Oh, I told you so. I told you it was going to break out. I told you it was going to break out." And it's like, yeah, but you have sold your Ethereum to buy it before Ethereum hit its tops. You've lost a shit ton of money, really. In reality, you'll have lost loads by the time Kaspa breaks out. And what I think's happening is, and why maybe comments get hidden, I don't know whether it's happening to other people. Somebody commented on one of my videos, pointing it out on another comment that I'd made, and it's like, oh yeah, yeah. And the one thing that will happen, I've lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, and the thing is, I get the feeling that he's more trying to tell himself than anything else, telling other people. I think what's happened is he's got to a situation where he's bought that much, and he's seen the reds. He must be seeing reds, big reds. If he's bought all that, yeah, that's all he'll be staring at: reds, reds, reds. Now, it seems to be that he's probably in a situation where it's like being at a casino when you're going all in because you know you're just trying to double up every time because your losses are so bad. And I think that's what's going on there, and I think it's dangerous telling other people to hurry up, when the truth of the matter is probably you're in a bit of a mess with your Kaspa, and you're throwing in to get that average down as much as possible, because you were probably buying at 12 cents, 13 cents, 14 cents, and suddenly these reds are looking really, really bad. So what do? You sell some Ethereum, swap Ethereum. Oh dear, you swap your Ethereum to add a bit more to get that average price down, and the problem is, it just, another drop. It's not good for your mental health either, that, really, really, really is. And he's sounding more panicked, by the day when he's talking about Kaspa. You can see it in his voice, and it's like, my advice is, look, just don't do that again. You're in a good position, stick. You're in a good position. If Kaspa does what it's supposed to do, and there's no guarantees, and he's probably aware of this in the back of his mind as well, there's no guarantees, because, as I've said before, Betamax, the better technology doesn't guarantee success. And there is loads, probably millions of examples of the same thing. I think it dates, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's either the light bulb or something to do with electricity anyway, and somebody's credited for it, but the actual person who created it, I think it was the AC/DC. I don't know. I don't have a clue about electricity and how it works and that, but somebody will probably be able to correct me in the comments and tell me what it was. The person who got there first isn't the person credited with inventing it, and the same goes with Kaspa. It might, by all intents and purposes, be a better technology than Bitcoin. However, Bitcoin is unique for its own reasons. It's first to the market, and it's got so many other reasons that the actual, as just to pull one other thing, like he said, or the smart money is now buying into Kaspa. No, it's not. Smart money don't buy in when it's 2 pence. Smart money are like, well, I've got enough to buy millions and millions of cash when it gets to $1. Don't bother them. They can be sure of whether it's going or not. So the smart money is not in Kaspa. That is bollocks. It is speculative people like me, like him, and other people that might have more money than other people, but certainly not the smart money that's on Kaspa. The smart money's in Ethereum. The smart money's in Bitcoin. That's where they are. The store of value. The smart money's in gold. So I think he is just he's more in that spiral of chasing losses and trying to convince himself more than anything else, more than his viewers, that perhaps that it will all be fine in the end. And unfortunately, life doesn't work like that. That is why you put your money in safer things like Bitcoin and Ethereum, and you don't keep throwing in. There's nothing wrong with buying as you're going along, as long as you keep it as a certain percentage of your portfolio. Look at the allocations. That's what I do. I look at the allocations. So I know how much I've got allocated to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. They're my top 3. And then I've got some allocated for Kaspa. Now, to be honest, that allocation, I could argue quite strongly that I am overexposed in my Kaspa position. I can see reds in that. However, because I'm probably 20 years older than him, maybe 15, 20 years older than him, I don't know, he's in his 20s, I've got less time to make life-changing sums of money. This is my one opportunity. Now, I won't be able to get enough money together to make life-changing money in Ethereum or Bitcoin, but with Kaspa, 10, 15 years time, it could happen. If it doesn't, well, I'm going to be a few £100 worse off than I was when I put in. It's not really that much harm it's doing me. At least I know the biggest amount I've got are in more established, cryptocurrencies and technologies. So yeah, that is a problem if you go all in. So if I was in his position, would I be selling? Probably not at the moment, because I can imagine he's got some big losses on there, and he doesn't seem a rich person, so it should be and more reason to hold on to Ethereum and Bitcoin, more reason. And that is why, if I was in his situation, I'd probably want to take some profits and just trim that position down a little bit and rotate it back into Ethereum, or failing that Solana, or Bitcoin, any of them, or Avalanche, or even Chainlink possibly. You get the idea. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. What do you think about it? Let me know in the comments. I'm not having a go at him. I'm not having. It's just I think it's important to sort of get that message out there. That Cas it's an excellent technology. It really is a good speculative bet for returning life-changing sums of money in 5-10 years if you're prepared to wait, and you're happy to wait, but do it month to month. Don't feel that FOMO, because some people are already locked in and they're telling you to buy, when I think if they were honest with themselves and they'd have maybe done things slightly different. And I can't help thinking that the whole selling Ethereum was more a rallying call to himself than necessarily using your head. Sometimes you've got to learn to use your head over your heart. And as much as I want Kaspa to succeed, because it'll make a big difference to my life, you've also got to be prepared for things not working out, because life very rarely goes to plan A. It's usually plan B or plan C that come in. So it's good to have a plan B and a plan C, and not to go over the top. You've got to ask yourself, how many millions do I want to make out of this? There must come a time when you're going, right, a few more million or a few less million ain't going to make a difference, and at the end of the day you might just end up with slightly less than what you put in. So anyway, let me know what you think. Like I say, I don't wish him any ill will. It's just that I had to say something because of the message it's putting out, and also my comments seem to be hidden, even though they're not offensive. So it seems to nobody gets to read them really. So I'm having my say on my channel. Hopefully I won't have to. I'll talk about Kaspa again anyway, because I am putting into Kaspa, but we've got to be realistic. It's going to be a slow burner, and especially compared to some of the bigger, more established ones out there. So yeah, if you're buying it, I'd say continue to buy it, but just don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't put too many eggs in that basket. Even. Anyway, I've been Crypto Tyke, and thanks for watching. Do take a moment to hit the like and leave a comment as well, because it's all appreciated, and it just helps this get seen by a few more people. Thank you very much. Bye bye.